Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. I'm Emerald Ambassador Erin Bush, and I am here tonight with Sapphire Ambassador Stephanie Murray. She had a huge part in my personal success with Plexus. I cannot even, I just thank you is not big enough, because if she had not poured into me her encouragement and cheered me on and had really shown me through example what it meant to get to jewel status, I would not be here today. So I am really excited for her to pour into you guys, and I'm gonna ask her specifically about how she did it with two little boys who were very active, and I'm sure just demanding, like we all know our little toddlers can be, and preschoolers, and still worked, a 50-hour week job, sometimes more hours than that, and yet ranked Emerald in 11 months, 10 months?
Yep, 11. Well, yeah, 11 months if you count January, which I joined at the very end of January. So 10 months, I guess.
I would say 10 months, yeah. And so that is really fast when working full-time and taking care of two littles and having a husband and all the other stuff that you have outside of your life. And I really want her to just kind of pour into us and tell us Stephanie, how did you do it?
Well, it's super appropriate. I don't know if you can hear, but there's chaos going on outside my bedroom door. So number one, I did it with a lot of locked doors. Sometimes I had to lock myself in the closet. But no, it was a sacrifice. And so I actually did not too long, like a few weeks maybe after I went Emerald, I was asked to do the DDD, the big Celeste Gwynn's team page team training. And I did my whole call on sacrifice because, as women, I think we're natural, like we naturally sacrifice our own needs and wants and desires for the good of others. I think some people can get in a mindset of like, this is something that I want for myself. And so I'm going to, because it's something that I want, I don't want to sacrifice my family time because this is my thing. And what my whole approach with it was with Plexus and getting to Emerald in 10, 11 months. My whole approach was really sacrifice. I had to sacrifice my family time and what I wanted desperately. I had to sacrifice it in the now so that I could have it later. And right now I'm living that. But so for example, I mean, like Erin mentioned, I was working full time when I started Plexus. I more than full time. I was commuting 3 hours a day, an hour and a half each way. And then I worked most weeks I worked more than 40 hours, usually 50 hours or more. Sometimes that meant I was sleeping on the floor of my office even. I spent nights away from my kids. And it never got easier. I worked at that job for almost 2 years. And basically almost every day that I left my kids, I cried and I spent my children. I knew that in order to change that, in order to be able to be home, in order to replace my income and really exceed my income to a point where I felt comfortable leaving my job, that meant that I was going to have to probably sacrifice more time, spend even more time away from my kids than I currently was, so that I could change that in the future. So for me, that looked like working my business practically meant a lot of times I spent time in the car, obviously commuting, and so I would answer messages that way and whatnot on my way to and from work. But then I would schedule opportunity meetings, or I was doing a lot of networking after work. So I would commute to Camp Pendleton, and then I would leave work. When I got off of work, I would drive up to wherever I had a meeting, whether it was a networking meeting or meeting somebody for coffee or doing an actual opportunity meeting for my team. I was usually driving another hour and a half somewhere else, and sacrificing that time, missing bedtime, missing bath time a lot. But now, because I did all that, today, for example, was Braden's first day of kindergarten, and we woke up in the morning. All four of us were here. Micah, my youngest, my husband. Nate doesn't have to go to work if he doesn't want to right now. So we've moved up here, and there's no rush or stress for him to find a job. So we're a stay-at-home family, and we woke up in the morning. Nate made breakfast. We got ready. All four of us loaded up in the car. We got to go to his first day of school and drop him off. And then Nate and I and Micah spent the rest of the day together. And then we all went back and picked up picked up Braden from school and spent the rest of the afternoon together. So that's like my ideal. And that might not be what your heart's desire is, but for me as a mom, it felt so unnatural to be missing my children's lives because I was at work all day. And that was enough drive for me to give up a little bit more so that I could have what I knew was possible, which was a day like today where we got to be a full-on stay-at-home family and totally live out our dreams. So sacrifice really has a lot to do with it. And I think that when you change your perspective on Plexus from thinking, oh, this is my little thing on the side, this is me trying to make extra money for me, and you look at it as, no, this is something that I'm doing for my family. I'm working this business so that we can have a different future. And even better, if you can bring your family on board with your goals. If you're talking to them about, listen, I want to do this because I want to provide X, Y, and Z for us. If you have older kids, letting them know, hey, listen, for example, leaders retreat, you just missed the cutoff for that, but including your family on things like that. Hey guys, if you help mommy by, when I'm on calls, if you can be, extra helpful, or even letting your spouse know, listen, I'm going to be putting in extra time, but the end goal of this time away is that we're going to go on a vacation to Dallas, Texas. Or our first leaders retreat was in Orlando, Florida. So I got to take the kids and my husband to Disney World for 5 days. So involving your family in your goals, short-term and long-term, and building, casting that vision for your family as much as you are for your teammates or for people that you're talking to about joining your team, that you should be talking to your spouse and your kids about why you're doing this and why you're getting on another team call or another training, or you're going to a meeting, that you're doing this for a different future for your family, that this is what you want it to look like for your family, and painting that picture for them. So see, this is what I'm saying, Erin, this is why I have to be prompted, because I go down really exciting rabbit holes.
No, that's exactly that is exactly what I'm talking about. And so you mentioned a little bit, you had this really long commute. So practically, if you were to break up your day for someone who has a working job, I know you said you made your car your university. I mean, that was how you learned. And believe me, guys, Stephanie knows her stuff. She is very savvy about this business. And the reason is because she invested in her own education. But then myself, as a level 4 teammate, saw her experience, saw what she was bringing to the table, and saw her success. And so I duplicated that and I followed that. So when she learned, I was all ears so that I could learn too, and then pass it on to my team. So let's talk, but now I'm getting off on the rabbit trail, but I just want to build in why this sacrifice, we'll talk about that in a minute, the vision, but break down a day for somebody who is working, like what you did. And involve like the kid part in there too, because I know that when we think about, trying to do it all, can you hear me still? Okay. When we talk about trying to do it all, there really is no trying to do it all.
No,
Right? I mean, I don't think there is. My house
no.
is not clean. If you come to
Yeah.
the door, I will not open it. I mean, I'll open it.
Yep.
We'll go get coffee.
Yep.
But you probably will not be coming in because it's not a high priority to me. My highest
Yep.
priority is bring my husband home from his job if he doesn't want to work anymore, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, and so
Yep.
let's talk a little bit about like how can someone take their 5 days a week, 40 or 50 hours, and turn that into fitting in their Plexus business? What would that look like?
So, I'll break this down into two parts, like Erin, like you mentioned. So first I'll talk about what it looked like for me when I still had a job, and then what it looked like for me while I'm still working at home with kids. So when I had my job, I honestly, even from the beginning, 3 hours in the car a day is not great. It's not ideal. I would rather spend that time with my family or doing something like that. But I turn that around and use that to my advantage. So an hour and a half in the morning. And now I have to disclaimer this. I don't recommend texting and driving. You're not supposed to be on your phone. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I love, voice to text feature on Messenger now. You can voice record. So you're still holding your phone, but you're not distracted. You can keep your eyes on the road. But I would use that time in the morning. Usually, so honestly, I had it down to a science. So I would get in the car. The first 30 minutes of my drive was basically prayer and just kind of mostly prayer. I pretty much would pray for half an hour. And I knew it to where a certain point, or I would listen to my books. And yeah, like she said, it was a rolling university. So my morning drive was mostly prayer and listening to personal development or network marketing books, all that kind of stuff, people in the industry that know what they're doing, and learning as much as I can. And in the months that I invested more in myself and spent more time on personal development, my team grew more than other months. So it sounds kooky, it sounds crazy, but the more you are who you attract who you are. And so if you're working on yourself and becoming a better overall person, well-rounded, can talk to different people, understand yourself better so that you're not reacting, be more self-aware, the more you are of all of that, the better off you are in the business. So I spent a lot of time in the morning doing those things. I would answer messages if they were urgent. Usually before I got in the car, I would kind of check and see if there was anything that had to be answered right away. By the time I got to work, I would stop before I went in, and I would sit in my car and answer some messages, go into work. And then at lunchtime, again, I'm answering messages, doing what I got to do, squeezing in, calls with people. And then after work, again, check my messages before I start the car usually. And then basically while I was heading to a meeting, whether it was, a networking meeting or whatever, I was again answering messages or listening to a book. And that's basically what that looked like. Now, if I went home or whatever, basically after I got home, it's kind of in the nooks and crannies. I'm not saying I completely ignore my family for 10 months at all. So if the kids went to bed, I took advantage of my Plexus energy, and even on the nights that I wasn't feeling that Plexus energy, I'd force myself to stay up that extra hour or whatever I needed to make sure that I was following up with people and doing what I needed to do, getting on my team page, that sort of thing. Now, after I got home, the structure kind of lost itself, or I lost the structure. And so it looked more like fitting it in the nooks and crannies. So, just finding that time that, I guess it's harder. You guys know, being a stay-at-home mom, or if you are a stay-at-home mom, or even parents with kids, that they're just so demanding. And so it's demanding of your time. So, and then when you start building a Plexus team, you have this whole team of people that are demanding of your time as well. And you want to give to both places. Now, I like Erin said, my house is not huge, like top priority on my list. So a lot of times that housework and that sort of thing kind of got put to the side. As soon as I financially could afford it, I started paying for someone to come help fold laundry and do that type of stuff so that could come off of my plate. And then I had to set boundaries for my phone, and I found it easier. A lot of people talk about setting business hours, which I think that's really, really important. So if you're someone that can stick to a schedule, just telling yourself or writing down somewhere and committing to, I'm going to work, if I'm going to work my business an hour before the kids wake up. If you're one of those people, like, I don't know who you are, but if you're crazy and you wake up before your kids, I know Danielle, she's up before her kids. I am not, so I could not commit to that. But if you are working your business for an hour before the kids wake up, or if you have school age kids and that once they're off to school you can sit down and commit to that, or you are more of a night owl, you can stay up after the kids are awake. But committing whatever it is, if you can do, I would say at least 2 hours if you're really pushing for a major rank advancement. Committing 2 hours of really income producing activity, not scrolling Facebook, that would be ideal. Now for me, so that's for somebody that can set a schedule and stick to it. I need, I'm not the best small business owner, because I need someone to tell me like what to do. So sometimes I enlist my husband for that, and then he gets dirty looks. But if you're not someone who can stick to a schedule, what I did was I ended up in implementing for myself no phone zones. So I had time, because I'm tend to be one who I'm looking at my phone all day. So now that I'm home, I would, instead of designating a time to sit down, I would be checking my phone all day constantly and just answering messages as they came through and being really reactive instead of really direct. And so what I had to do was set no phone zones. So ideally, I'm charging my phone downstairs, so I'm not reaching for it and first thing when I wake up. And then I know once I get the kids going, then I can grab my phone and check messages. I post on the team page, do what I have to do, and then I've started scheduling Zoom calls kind of as necessary if they're 3-way calls and that sort of thing. So again, rabbit holes, but if you can stick to a schedule, if that's your personality and you like a routine, then I would say set specific business hours, 2 hours in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, or 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, or 30 minutes in the morning and an hour in the evening, whatever it is that you can do. And give yourself a day off. Saturdays should definitely be family time, or Sundays. Sundays, if you want to do church in the morning. I know my friend Susie, she's probably not on this call, but she's really good at this, and she has her schedule and she sticks to it. And Sunday she pops on in the morning and tells her team, she hopes they have a great day. And then she's not back on until in the evening on Sunday. If you're not somebody that can stick to a schedule, I say stick to a non-schedule of when you shouldn't be on your phone so that you can focus on your time with your family. And then the other times that that you're doing income producing things. So that was super, again, roundabout. I hope someone's taking notes on this and getting something out of it.
Well, no, I love the contrast of how you worked your business while you were working a full-time outside home job, and then how you work your business now.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things too that I just want to reiterate that you said is how you would leave every day you left your babies.
Mm-hmm.
It brought you to tears.
Yep.
And yet you still saw the vision of what you could have through a $34.95 yearly membership with Plexus. And you sacrificed a little more time away from your family. And now look at your day and how you're able to work at home. So I'd like to ask you, when did you see that vision? When did you go, oh my gosh, I'm going to make this happen? When did that happen?
Really early on, to be honest. Now, let me caveat this with, I I've met more people as my team grows, and as I've just grown as an adult and met more and more people. I've met more people that have like zero belief in themselves than I've met people who believe in themselves. And so I don't know. I'm going to give my parents props for this, maybe, and probably some really good teachers. But I have never had a doubt that I could do anything. And even like my best friend, if she's on here, or my mom, like they roll their eyes at me, and like they always said like, oh yeah, Stephanie wants to do something, she's going to do it. You know, she's always good at everything. And like, it's annoying, whatever, to be, okay, there's some, you know, to be a person that can do something, like anything they want. But it's just an attitude. It's just a mindset. So from the very beginning, I will caveat all of this and say, I have zero issues with belief in myself. I know if I want to do something, I can, and I will do it. And so very early on in my journey, like days in, and I switched. A light bulb went off. I went from not intending to work a business at all, which I find hysterical, that I was so miserable, not just with my health and my body, but I was miserable, crying every day I went to work, and yet I was not looking for a solution. Even when it was dropped in front of me, I told my sponsor that I didn't want a business. I was not planning on working a business. So I went from that to, she suggested, well, why don't you post a picture of your welcome pack on Facebook? And I did. And then people were interested immediately and asking questions and just curious. And, so then I started to look at the compensation plan, and this was in a matter of a couple of days. I was added to the team pages. I started kind of poking around. I was curious and looked at the compensation plan. And that's when the light bulb went off, and I saw the numbers. And I'm quite a bit of a red personality. So like money speaks to me, motivates me. So I saw the potential there. And it just, that was like, honestly, light bulb instant, like, oh, holy cow, look at the amount of money that you can make, that people are making. So if someone else can do it, then I'm going to do it. Why not me? And I just went from there, and I had zero doubt in myself, period. Now, I understand, though, as I've been growing this team of people, I can guarantee you there are people on this call that are not like that maybe had some doubt in the beginning, or you might still be doubting yourself and questioning whether or not you can do this. And I'm going to loop that back around to personal development. And if you guys, you have to be pouring into yourself and feeding yourself the right talk. I know Danielle's on here, Danielle Ashdown, and she's on Sarah Zott's downline. And Sarah has been hosting a book club, which I intend to do starting next month, on a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it is all about self-talk and the tracks that you have in your head. And that's where everything starts. So the more that you can work on, and you're never going to arrive with personal development. So you have to constantly be feeding yourself the good stuff, the right stuff, the truth, be in prayer and studying the word and what God says about who you are. And just constantly doing that to fight the opposite, to fight that little voice inside you that says that you can't do this and that you're not good enough and what do you think you're doing. So I don't even remember the question, but I have to say that you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe that you can do it. So yeah, what was the question here?
Well, I'm actually going to piggyback on two things you said there. So
good.
The first thing is, if you guys will notice, it wasn't that the products spoke to Stephanie, it was that the compensation plan spoke to
yes.
So
yes.
When we talk about personalities and we talk about what speaks to each person, we've got four. And
yep.
Plexus meets all four. They meet it meets the red who wants more for her family. It meets the blue who loves vacations and a community and friends and talking to people. It meets the green personality who loves detail and ingredients and loves, that kind of little nooks and crannies and stuff. And it speaks to the yellows who like to help people. So that's really important. Notice that is what triggered Stephanie. What triggered me was helping others. So always keep that in mind when you're talking to people. What is their trigger? What do they love to talk about? What do they love to hear? What is their language of love? And that is one of those 4 things that speaks to their personality.
Let me time out right there real quick. If you guys are like, what the heck colors are they talking about? There's a book called The 4 Color Personalities for Network Marketing by Tom Bigall-Schreider. It's a super short read. If you're on my team page, Steph's Plexus Gems, we're doing it as a book club this month. And we actually meet tomorrow for the first time for the first 25 pages. But there are 4 different color personalities that it's broken down to, and there are qualities of each. So if you're like, what are we talking about? Look that up and you'll be amazed. But sorry, go ahead, Erin. What was
I forgot that you were doing that. So awesome. I love that book. The second thing was you mentioned personal development. So you might be looking at Stephanie and say, okay, well, she believed in herself from the very beginning. So why does she need to do any personal development? Well, if you could put me next to her, this was somebody who desperately needed help believing in themselves. And so, but what's fascinating, I think you'll find, is that the 2 of us have probably read very similar books.
Yes.
And I think that it's not just about believing in yourself. It also is about, in a personal development, what you will also get.
Yes.
How to talk to people. And how to present yourself and how to improve yourself. And if you go into the network marketing stuff and how to actually do this business, there's a lot of stuff out there too. But you guys just replace network with relationship. That's what it is. This is relationship marketing. We don't sell a product and walk away. That is impossible, and you will not do good. You will not do well at this business if you sell a product and walk away, because that's not what we do. So why don't you, I know that you listened to lots of stuff, and I would love for you to leave with us some specifics on what you listened to and what you were, because obviously you weren't reading in the car, you were listening.
Right.
What audiobooks were you listening to help improve your business, improve yourself, improve and bring back to your team? And one more thing on that, sorry, I just remembered. You didn't ever have to think about what to post in your team pages. And honestly, guys, if you don't want it to have a team page, I'm just going to touch on this really quick. You don't have to have a team page.
No.
You have an upline that is strong. Do you guys realize how strong your upline is? Really strong upline. And you don't have to have a team page. But not only will it give you fodder for your team page, but also even for your wall, for your Facebook wall, and sharing inspiration and stuff with others. Because you just basically took what you were learning and you poured it out on us. You didn't take stuff from other places, because I remember joining when you had just turned senior Ruby, and you weren't on any Jewel pages then. You were giving us what you learned. So let's hear, what are your favorite audiobooks, CDs, whatever you were listening to on your drive back and forth?
Okay, I'll give you all my favorites off the top of my head, and I'm going to open up my Audible and look at it. So I don't know if my screen will go blank, but Orrin Woodward, first of all, he is one of my absolute favorite network marketing speaker author guys. He speaks a ton on leadership, and he also speaks a lot about financial savvy, being savvy with the money that you're starting to make in network marketing. So I love both aspects of that, just as far as network marketing, leadership, and financial know-how, just a genius. So anything by Orrin Woodward, and he teams up a lot with Chris Brady. My other top, top recommendation, especially in the very beginning, is GoPro by Eric Worre. He's amazing. And then listening to any of his videos online, Eric Worre's great. And Sarah Robbins, How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business, of course. And I reread all of these guys. Everything that I probably will mention right now, I've listened to more than once. So, or read, but most of the time I listen because I'm in the car. So let me scroll all the way down to my thing. Oh, duh. Number one, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the number one. That is the place where my personal development started. And I actually started listening to that when I got my job before Plexus, because I was in a position of leadership and I wanted to improve on that. And How to Win Friends and Influence People is just so good overall. Everything, it's going to help you in everyday life. Some people think it's a little like dated, but it's so applicable if you just listen to it and think of like how can I use this in everyday life? It's just awesome. Lean in is good, but let me skip over that. The Happiness Advantage is really great by Sean Achor, and you can look up. He has a TED Talk actually. And his TED Talk is really great, and the book is really, really good. It's all about mindset and perspective. Everything from John Maxwell, everything. And a lot of it is like overlaps, but the place to start with him, I would say, is probably 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. That's one of my favorites from him. Then there's several other, just anything from him. Developing the Leader Within You, Developing the Leader Around You, that kind of thing when you're starting to build a team. Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Some of you might have already read that. Again, if you've read it, I'll tell you one of my pet peeves. When I mention books and people are like, oh yeah, I've read that before. Well, read it again because it's really good. So if you've read any of these, read them again. And just because as you read things at different spots in your Plexus journey, at different times in your life, you're going to get different things out of it that you didn't first of all. Okay, one of my number one favorite recordings, it's actually not a book. You can't get any books or anything, but Jim Rohn, Rohn. Honestly, anything from him, but my number one favorite, it's an 1 and 7 minute long recording. You can also get this on Audible, but they have it on YouTube even for free. It's called Building Your Network Marketing Business. And I can spit this whole thing out for verbatim. It is so good. He covers network marketing like you wouldn't believe in really relatable ways. I feel like he speaks language in a way that women really respond to. A lot of it is in analogy and that type of thing, but it's just really, really good. Building your network marketing business. Anytime you're feeling just down in the dumps or kind of bummed about something in your business, listen to Building Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn, and it will just kick you right in the pants. GoPro, I already mentioned. Robert, okay, I think I mentioned this on another call recently, but one of the things, one of the things that really kicked me into gear with network marketing, it was actually 2 businesses ago, a different network marketing company I was with, they recommended reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I read it and it totally changed my perspective on business and finance. And that's honestly, Aaron mentioned that, like, when did you see the vision with Plexus? I think because I had that foundation from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the perspective of, wow, I need to be using not just trading time for money, but finding a way to leverage my time. I understood that is why network marketing is powerful. So if you haven't read it, or if you have, read it again. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Man, there's so many good ones, but those are probably some of my top ones. Even just my favorite authors. Oh, wait, I can't not mention this one. The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy is the editor and owner of Success Magazine. And he's written a couple of books, and they're all really, really good. But Entrepreneur Roller Coaster is one of my favorites, hands down, just amazing. Again, his name is Darren Hardy, so Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. And I'm going to stop there. I could go on all day, but this is what I'm telling you. Like, I just consumed this stuff with like fervor. And like Erin said, I was just then regurgitating it onto everybody and anybody that would listen. And it's so, so good. But no matter, I can tell you about all of it all day long, but you're going to get something else out of it when you read it and do it yourself. Yeah. Yay. Carrie's on. Yes. Carrie loves Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. We were talking about that. We read it together, but anyway. Did you guys get all those written down? I know I'm a fast talker.
I wrote them down. I got them all down. And I agree. You said if you're ever feeling discouraged about go to the Jim Rohn hour and
yes.
I think we underutilize him. He is brilliant. And,
yes.
and I just, so he's so good. And
I wish I could meet him and hug him. He's dead.
I know. I wish I could have attended one of his meetings because I would have done anything to do that because I just think it's so amazing. Robert Kiyosaki also has another book out that's difficult to find, but it's The Business of Helping People or something like that. And he actually, he was not in network marketing originally. Yep. He had an opportunity in the 70s and he turned up his nose at it because he thought he was better than that, just like so many other people on this call. And then he wrote, there's a book he wrote about why network marketing he felt was one of the best ways to build a financial wall for your family. So anyway, that one's a little bit harder to find, but he's really good. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. I think people, if we talk to all Jules, most of them will find that there is a period of intense sacrifice. And there certainly was with me. I know there was with you. And, during the time that I was sacrificing, I was feeling a little like, gosh, I knew the vision, but it was hard. And then I heard Jen Hawkins, who's, of course, Diamond, Sapphire, I think now. And she said, I worked really, really hard for a period of time so that I could work less later. And that is exactly what happened with you. And that is what is happening with me. So, that really, there is a breathing room and there is a period of time where you go, oh my gosh, all my work I am still getting paid on. And that's residual income. Because you guys, I quit teaching I didn't go back this year, and I am not getting paid for that teaching that I'm not doing. Do you know what I mean? That's the difference between, and you're not getting paid, I'm sure, from your job that you're no longer going to. So that where you have another boss. And being your own boss and that residual income is priceless for your family and building that vision. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Does anybody have any questions and want to unmute themselves real quick? We could do like 5 minutes of questions. Can I feed off of just a little bit of that last thing that you just said? Please do.
Okay, so you just kind of like hit the little surface. I just want to dig a little deeper. Network marketing, and Erin was saying how so she left her teaching job and now she's not receiving residual income from her teaching job. And I left my job. So if you guys think about this, this is why I love like Robert Kiyosaki and all those types of things, because they talk about this whole idea of when you are an employee, you are trading your time for money. And you only have a limited amount of time. Guys, time is your most precious resource. I am so protective of my time because that's the only thing, you can't get it back when it's gone. So if you're trading time for money, that's what you're doing as an employee. You have to give whatever you have to give in order to shift over and be able to leverage your time and earn more money. So what Erin was saying is so powerful that, if you guys think about this, so this last week, tomorrow's Friday. If you worked 40 hours this week, you get paid for that 40 hours one time and that's it. Now, if you are sacrificing and pouring in 40 hours this week into your Plexus business and you are signing people on your business and you are pouring into your team and your team is growing, you're not going to, there's no way to actually track it, but you will be paid later. You're not just going to be paid this week for the work you did this week. You're going to be paid tenfold down the road if you keep working it. So it's just, if you guys can just grasp it, the idea of, the fact that the work and the time that you're sacrificing now is not just going to pay you now, but it will pay you far into the future. And that is why it's worth it. So anyway, if anyone else wants to, if you guys want to ask any questions or anything.
Yeah. And, to piggyback on that again, I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about some of these jewels that have been in Plexus from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And how, the first year in Hawaii, they had one person there. And then the second year they had 8 people there. And then the third year they had 30 people there. And some of them are going to have 100. Now that's really deep in their downline. But then I look at Stephanie and I, and we're going, Stephanie, you're going to have 4 jewels under there this year. And I'll have 1. And we're just getting started.
Yes.
This is just like, I just look at this like this. I'm in the newborn stage still. I have not even been weaned yet. I mean, don't you feel that way? Like the ability to grow, because we are so ground floor. I mean, and you just look at our back office, you guys, and we have Block and Edge and a few shareables. We haven't even gotten to all the amazing products like Triplex yet.
Yep.
I mean, you could almost compare it to that, where you've got this infancy. This is something that this is lifetime. Like, I'm looking at my first trip to Kona and going, I'm going to be going with these people every year. I'm going to make some friends. And that is crazy and amazing to think that this is just the beginning. So,
totally. Agree.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for your time. I so appreciate you. I know someone was hoping you'll make a list of your books and audios on the team page.
Yes.
And I wrote them down too, so we can do that and share notes on our team pages. But thank you so much. And you guys, thank you for being here tonight. Have a great night. And we'll see you all back not next week, but the week after.
Yes, after Kona.
All right. You guys
Thanks, guys, for jumping on.
That's all right. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Bye.